You can spend $44 billion on your own digital town square, which is basically X. You can build rockets to Mars. You could even change the name of the app and do whatever you want. But you can't buy the feeling of 70,000 people screaming every lyric to a song that the algorithm has tried to bury. Last night at SoFi Stadium, we didn't just see a concert, we saw a glitch in the animation. Despite the shadow bans, terminated contracts, the industry-wide cancel order trying to cancel Ye for the last, let's say, 10 years, the world witnessed an impactful visual representation of a live show, which I've seen in decades, and I think which has broken so many numbers when it comes to X and looking at people's responses on Instagram. It's getting to the point where we realize that Ye cannot be stopped at this point. He really can't, because everything he does, because even with the most streamed hip hop album of 2025 was obviously Graduation, which a lot of people loves. That is an 18 years old album, and it shows that like his influence just stays in people's mind regardless on what he does. I know there's probably a lot of stuff he's done in the past, a lot of controversial stuff which we're not going to get into. The people who do know of his controversial takes, take it as you will, because in my opinion, I want to kind of separate the artist from the work and the work from the artist in this case. But let's get into it. Let's look at the designer lens, because when it comes to most artists, they use a lot of LED screens. They use a lot of dances to kind of distract you when it comes to performing online. And don't get me wrong, that works sometimes because, all it takes is your favorite artist to be up there singing the songs that you've loved and always listened to on Spotify, on YouTube. So just having the bare minimum is almost everyone's happy with that. But I don't think a lot of people realize what Ye just did. Like, yes, he was standing on the planet, but the visual representation of it, it's showing that not he's God, but he's standing above everything. He is one against all. That's the best way to describe how that masterpiece was done. And obviously, depending on the different songs, they were transitioning between with smoke, lighting, rotating the earth, and obviously that little crash out he did with the lighting, like that was damn hilarious. But it was literally a sci-fi fever dream. When it comes to being a creative, I can't comprehend the amount of level of dedication that Ozzy Taylor, I don't know how you pronounce it, but a lot of people corrected me when I posted a video on Instagram about he was also the creative director, part of the creative process of building that stage. The amount of aura farming pics that I saw for the last day and a half, it's just amazing. He's literally just aura farming himself, saying that he's the outsider looking onto the world. And I was having this sort of discussion on my social media that becoming like a sort of creative director is kind of like peak creativity, especially as someone like me, as I'm a graphic designer and I help brands and I market other people's social media. I know how difficult it could be for people to have a brand out there, especially when you're a graphic designer. So when you become a content creator, a content director, you get to the point where your influence is so big. It gets to the point when if you have an opportunity to become a creative director, you start to notice that there's different lanes you can go into, because the person that you're trying to envision your brand or your style onto them, which in this case is Kanye, which is Ye, you start to see the amount of global impact that you do also affects Kanye. And you can clearly see if you're very passionate about your work, and as we can clearly see, which happened in the last day or so, that your brand or even the way you want to present yourself can get shined in the best light. But what were you guys' thoughts anyway? Because obviously I kind of did a quick video on it on my Instagram and it did really well. So I really wanted to talk about it here on YouTube. What you guys' thoughts are? Did you guys pull up to the concert? What are your thoughts on the Bully album? And yeah, let's get this discussion going. Take care, guys. Peace.